Well, here we are in the mansion, or the villa as it's called, and this took a lot of drawing. That was probably the main part of this, was the drawing and the measuring. And when I designed this, I tried to keep it simple. I tried to make everything about a foot apart, or maybe like 8 inches apart. But I tried to do everything so that I could measure it out easily, just so we didn't spend all day drawing, although it did take a while to draw. But for anytime you do any kind of an interior scene, like a building or the inside of a building, you're spending a lot of time measuring and making sure your lines are straight. So I guess the only other thing I'll say about this scene is once we painted it, I realized that it just looked too flat. So what we did was add some blurry, splotchy, lighter colors on the gray on the bottom, and on the top in these arches we added some darker grays and some smudges. And when you get up close, it doesn't, well, the door looks nice, but when you look up close, it's not very clean and very pretty. But when you view this from a distance, as anyone watching this will, this is probably, I'm probably still on the stage at this point. And then as I get a little further, here's probably where the front row will see it. So from a distance, it looks just fine. And that's the mansion, villa, whatever you call it. Von Trapp residence. Thank you. Okay, well, I'm back inside the villa, and I just wanted to show you what we did with the floor. We did pretty good with perspective when it came to the stairs and the carpet that comes out in perspective. However, with the floor, we just did a basic pattern. This is not true perspective. For perspective drawing, you have a vanishing point that goes at a distance, and these lines would come at different angles. However, we just did one uniform pattern, just like you would on wallpaper, and that way we didn't take forever having to measure out and figure out true perspective. That takes a long time. So to break up this pattern, we just added some smudges with, it's called dry brush technique, where you get a little bit of paint on the brush and just scrape it across, so it's not full color but just a stroke or two. We did it for under the table, and we did it for the chair, and that's just enough to break up that pattern so it doesn't look like, oh, the floor is standing straight up and flat. And that also saves us a lot of time in the drawing process. Hope that's helpful. And our floors in the Von Trapp residence are so clean you could eat off of them. Of course, they're not real, but you could eat off of these if you really wanted to.